Whether you're a brand new agent or you've been doing this for years, the million-dollar question is, what brokerage is right for you? As a broker for over 10 years, especially when I owned my own independent real estate brokerage up in Seattle, I would often ask myself the question, what is it the agents want? What do they need from their brokerage? What is most important to help you as the real estate agent be successful in your real estate career? Now that question has so many different answers because people define success differently. Just like all people are different, agents are different as well, and what they need and value is going to vary. So the simple answer is there is no perfect brokerage that's going to work for every single agent out there. Now, in my experience, most agents get a little lost in the details of finding clients and selling real estate. Yes, I know. It's our job to serve our clients in their home buying and selling needs. I get it. However, to truly do that at a high level and not get burnt out, you need to also prioritize focusing on your business, invest in yourself, attend conferences, get ideas and inspiration from other agents, keep up to date on what's happening in the industry. Learn the new forms and laws as they come out and change, and hone your skills. Simply put, you need to know what's going on outside the world of your office and what your options are. This means you need to be intentional and slow down enough to consider that if the brokerage you're at values and prioritizes agent excellence through everything that I mentioned above. The brokerage you choose matters. Will you be well aligned with the people, the company, and the culture there? If you are interviewing with different companies right now, keep this in mind. If you're interviewing different brokerages right now, good for you. That's awesome. Do your homework. But keep in mind, they are salespeople. They're trying to sell you on why you need to join their brokerage. And sometimes what is promised is not always what's delivered after you sign the dotted line. I can't tell you how many friends of mine have gone and interviewed with big companies, had amazing sales pitch, they're super excited, and as soon as they hung their license there, it was thanks for joining, let me know if you need anything. And then it was crickets regarding brokerage help, support, and guidance. I would highly recommend that you talk to some of the agents directly to get the real scoop. You can ask them questions like, what do you love most about being an agent here? What are some of your biggest frustrations? How does the brokerage contribute to the success of your business? Or how quickly does the brokerage respond when you have an issue or question for them? Okay, now here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna first break down some general brokerage models to give you a big picture overview and understanding. And you're gonna wanna make sure to keep watching after that because I am going to share with you my epiphany about what really matters when it comes to choosing the right brokerage for you. Let's go. All right, let's break this down. There are two basic brokerage models. There's the classic franchise model and the non-franchise model. And then within that, you basically have your traditional brick and mortar style offices and the newer cloud-based or virtual model. First, we'll go over the franchise model, also called the legacy model because it is the model that's been around for the longest, and until recently was the dominant brokerage model in the United States. The financial model for agents is going to be typically a split and cap model or a flat fee model. If you don't know what a split cap model is, it's basically out of every commission you get, the brokerage will take a certain split of that. So let's say you have an 80-20 split, 80% goes to you, 20% goes to the brokerage, and then that 20% on each commission adds up till you hit a cap every anniversary year, if your brokerage even has a cap. Some brokerages don't have caps, and you just keep paying them indefinitely off of every transaction. A flat fee model or a 100% model is typically you pay a lump sum each year or month or quarter, or you just have a flat transaction fee, and so outside of that fee, you get to keep 100% of your commission. This model of brokerage has also been referred to as discount brokerages. In the franchise brokerage world, these are typically going to be your big names that everyone's heard about that have been around for decades, some of them even centuries. Many of which haven't changed much in those decades either or kept up with the changing times, technology, or real estate trends. Obviously, it's a blanket statement. It's not true for all of them. Some examples of these brands would be RE/MAX, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Coldwell Banker, John L. Scott, Better Homes and Gardens, Sotheby's, etc. Now, if you look at the numbers, profitability, and agent count of a lot of these legacy brands, they're not growing, as they continue to steadily lose older agents who are retiring out of the industry, and they're losing younger agents to the newer, modern brands that have more advantageous models and are more agent-centric. So here are some of the characteristics of the franchise model. They're all independently owned and operated with physical offices, which means that they have expensive higher caps, desk fees, and franchise fees, inefficiency, a lack of consistency between the different franchises because the leadership and culture can be very different between the different franchises. Really, the only thing that they have in common is the shared branding and back office tech, which statistically, the majority of agents don't use their brokerage's in-house tech because it's often outdated and subpar to what you can get from third-party tech vendors. So yes, this is a generalization. Don't get mad at me if you're part of one of these legacy brands. Some of them are great, but unfortunately, this old franchise model tends to lead to inconsistent experiences for both agents and their clients across the different franchises. This old model also leads to poor culture, in my opinion, and unfortunately for years, this has just been an accepted reality as if it's inherent to the business. It's not, it doesn't have to be. It sets up agents against each other as competition, where agents in an office see each other as a threat to their business. So there tends to be very little collaboration or sharing with one another in their success or helping one another. That is not a healthy culture or one that I want to be part of. Now let's look at non-franchise options. These are going to be your small indie brokerages or independent brokerages, companies like Compass, and then national companies like eXp Realty, Real Broker, Epic, LPT, all these cloud models that are one company across the whole United States, instead of having separate individually owned offices. Now there's a special place in my heart for indie brokerages because, as I said, I started and owned my own indie brokerage in Seattle. Now I found this to be interesting. As far as the number of brokerages go, about half of the brokerages in the country are independent brokerages. They're brokerages you've never heard of, which kind of makes sense because the majority of indie brokerages are actually like 1 or 2, 3 people. They're basically a team running as a brokerage. So there's gonna be a lot more of those by number than there are of the big brokerages that everyone's heard of that have, dozens or hundreds of agents. Now, some of the benefits of indie brokerages, a lot of them are gonna have a real, homey mom and pop feel. They're gonna be real tight-knit with the community. Their leadership tends to be more relational, good culture, community presence, with a feel that tends to be more homey and less corporate. Now, the downside of indie brokerage, and I learned this firsthand, is that you lack resources because you're not big enough to really scale. There tends not to be a ton of extra money to provide resources, tools, training, and support to your agents until you have the extra margins to be able to provide that stuff back to your agents. Now let's talk about national companies. Now Compass is pretty unique in the sense that they are kind of a hybrid between the old franchise model and this newer popular cloud model. So while Compass is not a franchise, it's one of the newer brokerages and it was founded by non-real estate people on Wall Street. Compass is one company across the United States with centralized leadership. They say of themselves that they are building the first modern real estate platform. And Compass is different in the sense that they're much more selective with the agents that they allow to partner with them, which unfortunately I can't say that of very many brokerages. Usually, the joke is if you could follow a mirror, you have a pulse, hey, you're welcome to be an agent at most companies. But Compass tends to be very selective on who they partner with and have very slick modern branding and tech, but they still rely on the brick and mortar model, which is very expensive. And I'd say of all the brokerage brands I know, it's one of the most expensive companies you can be with as an agent. They have yet to even come close to turning a profit as a company, to the tune of losing hundreds of millions of dollars per year, so their longevity in the industry is still yet to be seen. Now the last category of brokerage is the virtual or cloud model, which has taken the industry by storm. They're exploding, especially Real Broker. The two fastest growing brokerages in all of history are cloud brokerages. Now you may have seen in one of my other videos where I explained why after 4 years at eXp Realty, I moved to Real Broker. That move has been a massive game changer for me, and it may sound cheesy, but it's really the first time that I can say that the brokerage I'm with and the people I've aligned with, it really feels like home for me. It's really amazing. I'm gonna change gears a little bit here and make another point. COVID sucked. Those years were terrible. No one could go into the office. Home offices and Zoom calls became commonplace, but also made a lot of agents reconsider their assumptions about what it took to be a successful real estate agent. Agents were at home working from their office, paying these massive splits and desk fees and wondering, why am I paying all this money to a brokerage for an office that I can't use? So the COVID years started a massive pivot in the industry from legacy brick and mortar companies to more efficient cloud-based brokerages. And the cloud-based model has been growing massively ever since. Cloud brokerages started exploding with growth as agents pivoted from the old, expensive legacy model to the more nimble, agent-centric cloud model. Now, while I'm not there anymore, I have to give props to eXp at this point because they pioneered this model and proved it was profitable, sustainable, and that agents like having more income options outside of just their real estate production. This virtual model is proving that cloud models are not only far more efficient, there's no costly physical office or redundant staff to pay for, but they're also attracting massively productive agents, teams, and even other brokerages to join. I'm going to bring up Real Broker at this point because while eXp pioneered this successful model, they made some missteps along the way that have hurt their culture and reputation in the industry, and now eXp is hemorrhaging agents to Real Broker, and to a lesser extent some other cloud brokerages. Now I think this is largely because Real had the ability to look at eXp and determine what worked really great about this model while correcting the issues that eXp had, leading to the next evolution of the agent-centric brokerage model built by agents for agents. Now, if you're curious about the specifics of what Real did to improve on the already good model, message me or schedule a free consultation below. But in a nutshell, they upgraded the revenue share structure to encourage relational agent attraction, implemented policy standards to prevent cold calling recruiting practices. They have established a clear mission of leading with kindness, being in the business of selling homes, and are protecting the culture and reputation at all costs. I mean, heck, their motto is work hard, be kind. I love it. I mean, who can't get behind that? Real Broker has not only become the world's fastest publicly traded real estate brokerage in history, it's also one of the most profitable, which means there's more to invest back into the company and their agents. As someone who owned their own Indie Brokerage for years, I discovered that I could move to a cloud model and essentially run my brokerage within another brokerage. This offloads 80% of my overhead costs, freed up my time and mental energy, not having to worry about reviewing contracts for compliance, substantially reduced my liability, don't have to provide E&O insurance for other agents, and all of the other headaches and time suck that comes from running my own brokerage. It's been amazing. I wish I would have moved years before. So, as a solo agent, the model also makes a ton of sense because with a lower cost of operation, the brokerage has more revenue and resources to pour back into their agents in the form of stock awards, equity sharing. You actually have ownership in the brokerage. It's amazing. Revenue sharing, you get rewarded to the tune of an additional $4,000 per year for every capped agent that you bring to the company. You also get capping and production awards in the form of stock, all in one place technology, live and on-demand training by top real estate agents in Real Academy, true direct collaborative opportunities with tens of thousands of agents across the country and internationally. It's absolutely amazing. And really this is all because the model incentivizes a healthy collaboration over competition culture, where we all are in this together to help each other succeed. Call me altruistic, but this model and culture is the best that I have ever come across. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. So, hopefully going over some of these basic models was helpful. The thing to remember about all this is that there's something for every agent out there. Now, I'm not going to get into the weeds in this video about each company and the models and splits and caps and other aspects of the financial models. In the big picture, I want to remind you that if you're a producing agent, you will pay your brokerage a certain amount of money each year, which is the cap, if your brokerage even has a cap. And your split simply determines how quickly you will reach that cap. Now, why do I bring up something so rudimentary as the split cap model? Because too many agents almost exclusively focus on brokerage splits and caps. If you have a low split, that just simply means you'll take longer to pay off your cap each year. If you have a higher split, you'll cap much faster. Either way, the brokerage makes the same amount of money, assuming that the cap is the same amount. So the real question to ask is your office space and what your brokerage provides you worth the tens of thousands of dollars that you pay them each year? If you don't hear anything else I've said in this video, pay attention here. Agents tend to be short-sighted and mostly focus on splits and caps, which at the end of the day has nothing to do with if you will be successful, satisfied, or happy at the brokerage you are with. Has nothing to do with it. In the 10 plus years I have been a real estate professional, what I've discovered that really matters comes down to value and alignment. Now, what do I mean by value? Is what you pay your brokerage at least worth what you receive in return from them? Different agents want, need, and expect different things from their brokerages. That's fine, that's great. I have found that most newer agents have no idea what they need or should be getting from their brokerage, and that's probably why you are watching this video. Good for you, good for doing your homework. I'm proud of you. Now, unfortunately, with many experienced agents, we can become cynical and sometimes feel like the best we can hope for is finding a brokerage that just leaves us alone to do our business the way we want to. Now, don't sell yourself short. There's a big difference between wanting your brokerage to be hands-off so you can do your thing and your brokerage not having anything of value to bring to your business. Now, I understand it can be hard to imagine things being different or better than they are now, especially if you've never experienced it personally. But no man or woman is an island, and we are designed to be in relationships. We understand this when it comes to our clients, but it's also true with having complementary relationships with other agents. Agents that are where you want to be and are willing and able to get you there too. You want to surround yourself with agents that are where you want to be and are willing and able to get you to that same place. Fellow agents that get how you run your business and you can bounce ideas off of and exponentially grow your businesses together instead of seeing yourselves as competitors. Now listen carefully to me here. If your brokerage has not and does not contribute to what has made you successful in your real estate business, you need to seriously consider a change. Agents all too often get comfortable and complacent, intentionally avoiding learning about what else is out there. We should all be growing and evolving personally and in our business. And if we aren't self-aware enough to admit when our brokerage can no longer support us in what we want in our business or the type of person we want to become, it's okay to admit that a change is needed. I've always loved the quote, "The price of doing the same old thing is far higher than the price of change." Don't be scared of change. Don't be scared of the pain. Don't be scared of having to get new signs or branding. If that change means better value and alignment, it is so worth it. Think big picture here. Stop thinking small. I said that finding the right brokerage is about value and alignment, right? So what do I mean by alignment? It's really all about the company. The company you keep at your brokerage, the company you surround yourself with, the people you surround yourself with is huge. Leadership and the example they set and standards they keep for their agents is what establishes a company's culture, for good or bad. The company I was at before made the mistake of not upholding good standards for their agent attraction practices, and because of that now has a bad reputation in the industry and is hemorrhaging agents. But let me tell you, the world-class leadership of Sharon Shrivatsa and other servant leaders on the Real executive team permeates throughout the fibers of the Real culture and ethos in a way I have never seen or experienced in any of the 4 companies I was at before finding my home at Real. Does the model of the company and the culture of your office attract and retain the kind of agents that you want to be around and work with? Does their energy, mindset, and leadership inspire and drive you to be the best agent you can be and are fun? Or do they suck the life out of you as busybodies and nagging and complaining about other agents? No one wants to be around that. I really hope that this video was helpful and insightful for you as you consider your brokerage home and options. If you have any specific questions for me or about Real or my experience, I would love to talk with you. Schedule your free consultation at the link below, and I'll see you on the next video.